Yeah, so like to welcome you guys here and stuff. Yeah, let's see. I was contemplating with my friend there. Like, I really have two societies. Kind of like.
Okay.
So one is Indigenous Wellness Training Society, and that one has 5 drivers of empowerment, is what I call it. So it's based on recovery, education, employment, culture, and life skills. Yeah. I was when I lived in the Lower Mainland, I tried to create a business. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Chris actually helped me.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, he helped me quite a bit there with mowing lawns and doing junk removal and just different things. Yeah,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. So yeah, so my thought was, okay, come through my recovery program similar to what he's going through there, and because I'm like a counselor and all that, and I yeah, I have a lot of years of sobriety and all that. So I have lots of, like, I mean, this is just part of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody in active addiction would have a setup like this.
Yeah,
You know what I
oh,
mean?
yeah, 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 yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
true.
cool. Like this
Yeah.
is I've been on, this is my third podcast now, and this is by far the most
Yeah.
professional setup
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been. So
elaborate
it's
and stuff, yeah.
a pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, yeah. So the other one is J. Dion and Associates, and that's kind of like the drive. It's me behind everything now, because yeah, Chris, we've known each other for a while. I'll ask you guys to introduce, but yeah, Chris, he's known me. How long would you say? 10 years, maybe more.
How about there back in 2014?
2014. Yeah, yeah. So, oh no, because I remember I seen you at the 2011 powwow. Remember?
Yeah,
That was
2011.
yeah. That was the first powwow that we had.
Yeah,
I
the
seen your
Dunedin Eastside Powwow.
I seen your picture there. So I was doing a lot of work and I helped them create this thing, man. And we I guess it's grown ever since then and stuff like that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So but I mean, you build things up and then people take it away from you. So my friend was like, yeah, just create my own, and then so it's something that people can't take away from
Yeah,
me.
for sure.
Yeah. So something that I like what you're doing, though. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know who wants to go first. Maybe your name, nation, whatever, where you're from, or stuff. Or
Okay. My name is Jesse Maurice. I'm Métis. My family comes from, half of them come from Alberta and the other half come from northern Saskatchewan. I'm 37 years old. I have 2 kids, a 10-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son. And early last year, last January, I created a clothing brand called Tribe North. And just the aim behind it was to create a clothing company that could give people some identity, some Canadian identity. So I've noticed so much division over these last few years between, you know, the elections, politics, COVID, and just all this stuff. So I wanted to create a clothing company to really remind Canadians of how loving we are. And you know, in doing so, I took so many artifacts, like 29 artifacts, animals, you know, some sports, stuff that Canada is really known for, and I just kind of jam-packed it into a logo, and been trying to get that off the ground. So,
awesome. Yeah. It's, we were in a class together, and stuff.
Yeah. You got your certificate?
Yeah. I just got it today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So.
Yeah. I found that what you were doing was like charismatic or something. Like the whole class or the instructors gravitated to what you're doing there, which was great.
Yeah, no, it was good. I actually Grant, or his name's Grant, right?
Grant.
Or Garth.
Garth, yeah.
I'm bad with names sometimes, but yeah, Garth. He actually bought a couple products off me for Charles for a Christmas present for him and his wife. So it was kind of cool. I got to see him just before Christmas there.
Those were the instructors there for Garth and Charles. That's awesome. Yeah. So Yeah, maybe. So this is Chris. Yeah, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. Like, what's your
No,
name,
I'll make it short and sweet. Hey,
blood,
just kidding.
blood type?
My name is Christopher Berry. Born and raised in Vancouver, mostly downtown on the east side. My background is Cree and Ojibwe. Cree from my mom's side from White Bear, Saskatchewan. Ojibwe from my father's side out in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And it's glad to be here on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So Chris is kind of like a powwow singer and stuff like that. So
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard of who's that again? The Northern Cree. Is that? Yeah, he sang with Northern Cree or some kind of.
Yeah, I sing with a bunch of other drums like Northern Cree, Trail Mix, Iron Nation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So you said how old you're?
I'm 30 years old,
Yeah, yeah.
and I have 4 kids, 3 daughters, 1 son. Yeah. Sadly to say, I'm in recovery treatment center in Choices. My 2 older daughters are still in foster care since they were 5 months old because of domestic violence, and my other younger kids are with their mother. Same thing, but me and my younger kid's mother were domestic violence as well.
Yeah, yeah. I think it all gets wrapped up in
Yeah.
addiction and everything, and like they in the big book they talk about being Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Mr. Hyde, yeah. Well, that's awesome that you're taking that step to better your life, man. Like you know, being 30, you still have so much life ahead of you. So it's good to see. I mean, you know, and I know for myself, like it took a few tries to finally get on the straight path. Like I went to 2 different residential treatment centers. I went to the one that's in Maple Ridge, MRTC, and then I went to Intervisions in Coquitlam there. So it's definitely a good place to surround yourself with those kind of people and just soak it all in.
Yeah, for sure. I heard of those 2 recovery houses because I was in Hope for Freedom.
Oh, okay.
My start of recovery journey.
Yeah.
Out in Maple Ridge. So, yeah. Yeah.
There was I don't know if he's still. There was a bigger guy that used to drive like the van to the guys and girls to all the meetings and stuff, and he had a shirt on. It was a drugless hope addict, I think it said, or something like that.
Yeah, we're terrible with names too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used to be Chris, so now you're Christopher.
Yeah. Chris is no longer because Chris was stuck in his addiction.
Oh yeah.
Might as well change a new life, right?
Yeah. So how long when did you start singing powwow music?
Since I was 5 years old. Yeah, because I was just a young guy. I was just being a kid, and I really wanted to sing or dance. And my elders back then and my dad told me that I need to sit down if I want to become a singer, or go on the dance floor if I want to be a dancer. You can't be running around and pretend to do this or want to do that and blah blah blah. Just make up your mind. So I became a singer.
Awesome.
Ever since I was 5 years old, and then that carried on until when I was 15 years old, in my teens, late teens. That's when I got introduced to alcohol, and then shortly after that, I got introduced to drugs. My first drug I took was MDMA and ecstasy, and then that's when I started falling off the singing career and drumming.
Yeah, it does get in the way of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 30 is a good age. Like for me, I was 26 and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So just celebrated 26 years. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. Just well, this year will be 27, but yeah, it just goes by fast actually.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, when I was 22, I believe, that's when I first went to the MRTC, and that didn't last. I came out of there, using marijuana and thinking that, I can have a maintenance program kind of thing, and then the alcohol came back in, and that's, to me, that's the biggest gateway drug, is the alcohol. And then when I was, I don't even remember now, in 2012, 2013, I think, is when I went to the other treatment center there, Intervisions, and then came out of there. I had 4 years, almost 4.5 years, and me and the baby mama, when we were together there, we went on a cruise to Mexico, and lo and behold, it was a party cruise. So as soon as we got on the boat, it's like, oh man, I started drinking, and after that, fell off the wagon for a little bit, and a couple years later after that, I lost one of my best friends to an overdose, and that's when things kind of really changed for me. It's like, you know what, like, because he has three kids that are now left behind, right? And it was definitely an eye opener of just the sadness and the pain that death brings. And it's not even just death. It's like, there's no need for people to overdose, right? Like, we have that choice to not pick up, and so that's when it really solidified for me. And since then, I kind of took a different approach. Like, I'm not counting clean time, because back when I counted clean time, it messed with my mind. I would always be like, oh no, this is coming up or whatever. And then, like, they even say in the program, like, like, around certain times is when you're more likely to pick up. And I think there's some science behind it too. And like, your liver or whatever does, like, flushes throughout,
Yeah.
So you can actually get withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that. So
yeah, like every 7 years, I think it regenerates or something like that.
Yeah. So,
your cell bodies or whatever. Oh, I don't know. That's what I hear, but yeah.
But yeah, I probably got a good 4 years now, clean and sober. So
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, just one day at a time. That's all.
That's all you can do. Like, so
they say principles before personalities. So yeah, I kind of like
progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, you can't rush into things, all right? Or just, I mean, you have the 30. I don't know. I remember I asked you one time how old you wanted to live till or something. Can't remember what you said. Yeah, but so I want to go till like a 90 or something. So yeah, just but I don't know. They said they did studies on that type of stuff and things like that. Yeah, but yeah. So actually, yeah, Chris has went through a lot of losses too. Like, yeah, it's just
I lost most of my grandparents back then when I was a kid. The most one that affected me is my late grandpa Denny. His 1 year is coming up on the 15th, and we're gonna have a dinner for him on the 18th. And that really hit me big when I found out that my grandpa is no longer with us. And I didn't want to believe it at the time, and I was so in denial. And I picked up that bottle, and I was like, no, it's not true. You guys are just lying, because it was all over Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. So anybody could say anything over Facebook. So, and then once the open casket was revealed to us, and we go see him, that's when that hit me big time. And to this day, I was still in shock. He's no longer here. He's here in spirit, but he's not here in physical form. So, and I'm the kind of man or guy or boy, whatever you want to say it, because to be honest, who is a man anyways? But anyways, the short story of it is that I finally let that grief go, and I'm the person that fears abandonment most of my life. Abandonment came into play when I was 6 years old, or before that, anyways. I started experiencing it when I was four years old. When my father took off. My father took off when I was 4 months. No explanation, no nothing. He just took off because I guess he didn't want to deal with me or my mom. And so my dad came into my life when I was 4 years old, and he took us to this this place that we call Family Night. Family Night at the Vancouver Aboriginal Friendship Center down on Hastings and Commercial. And my dad took me outside. There's these steps. There's only 2 steps up there, and I ran towards the. Oops, sorry, another call. I was running down towards these steps and towards that traffic, oncoming traffic, and my father goes and say, "Oh, somebody's boy or somebody's son's running towards the middle of the road." My dad goes up to him, "That's your boy," and it took me back inside. And that's the last time I see my father. And shortly after that, I see him again when I was about, I want to say 12 or 13. And he came back into my life shortly. He was trying to brag my love, like buy my PS2 or game or stereo, the game system, and all this other stuff. Meanwhile, I was looking for that father and son bond, And again, he took off out of my life again. No MIA, no explanation, no nothing. And then again, he came back when I was 16, when I had my two older daughters back then. And he tried so hard to come back into my life and their life, and I didn't want no part of it. And so I let him for briefly of time to come in to my life and my daughter's life. And again, he took off. And so it's the same cycle all over again. I keep abandoned. And then until recently, I want to say 2 years ago. No. Actually, when I was 21, that's the last time I ever seen him. He took me down to Vegas, and he says, "We're in Vegas." Asked me, what do you want? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, blah, blah, blah. Bull crap. And the first question I asked him is like, "Why did you leave me when I was a baby?" He's like, "Well, because your mom didn't stop asking me for money." And I snapped. So I left him, and then we stayed down there about 4 days. I stole $200 from him because I was still in my addiction. And on our 4th day, we came back, and that's the last time I see him ever since. The last time I heard from him was 2 years ago when me and my younger kid's mother first broke up, because we were on and off back then. Now we're separated for good now, but we're still there involved with the kid's life. But anyways, the last time I heard from him, he messaged my ex-wife, my younger kid's mother, saying that, "Oh, I want to be with you. I want to live with you. I want to be with your kids," and all that stuff. And don't tell my son this, or don't show him the message. And my ex-wife didn't have that courage not to show me, so she showed me, and I told him, "Won't block him, and don't say nothing. Just block him and get him out of your life." And yeah, ever since then, he's out of my life. He's out of my kids' life. I don't need that in my life or in their life. Because I want to be better than my father. I want to be better as a human being. I want to be a better dad to my kids and break that cycle.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically, this is sort of what this is all about here. So like more storytelling and things like that and stuff. Yeah, that's why I have this here. these things. But I mean, like we'll talk about what you're doing. It's just yeah, that's probably the most I've heard you speak in quite a while.
Yeah, yes. I'm not a very a talkative person when it comes to personal stuff. I keep that inside me and most, like, for dear God, inside me
Yeah.
until I feel comfortable, and if I trust you enough, and I hope you keep that trust, because, for me, I found out that trust you can hand out like it's candy, right?
Yeah.
It's whatever you do with it.
Yeah.
But once that trust is broken, it's like glass, right? It's fragile.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could temporarily tape it with Scotch tape or anything, but it's not going to be like duct tape.
Awesome.
And that's just me.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to work for you guys. That's you, but everybody has their own different story, right?
Thank you for sharing, man, and that's quite the story. And the nice thing about sharing your experience is, like, to whoever could be listening to this, right? Like you could be letting them know that they're not alone, because like that's one thing about us in our active addiction is we think like our story is unique and all this stuff, but it's like we're all come from, different backgrounds, but they all somehow connect in some weird way, right? So it's and it takes a lot of courage to share that. So be proud of yourself.
Yeah, and that's funny that you mentioned that, because I just wrote a post on my Facebook saying I'm going to do a Zoom meeting with my friend Jackson. Well, awesome friend Jackson. I said we have a similar story but different paths. Along the way, we are connected to one.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. What's that saying there on Musqueam? I think they, I don't know what I can't say it in Indigenous language, or Samakatna or something like that, or whatever. Yeah, means one heart, one mind, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One heart, one mind.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's mainly the reason why I'm just playing around with these things. Yeah. So yeah, that's the main reason. Like, so I have these cards here. This is about storytelling tactics, right? So you explain your project, as if and like as if this is an epic adventure. So this is called a dragon in the city, basically. So it says explain your project. Or there's a dragon outside the city walls or something. Like our world is no longer safe. What should we do? Like here it says escape, find a safer place to live. So I was living on the downtown. I mean in Surrey actually for long years, and so I was there for 18 years and stuff, helping people out. Like Chris, I've helped out quite a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just doing different things, but honestly, all that just like, because I know the need that the Indigenous people have, like, I don't know where you got your start or something, but, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's like that around here too. Like a lot of poverty, and like that they don't have too many resources. I was driving a couple of people, like this one other guy. I would pick him up for his empties, and then drive him to the bottle depot, and then he'd pay me $25. I'd be like, whenever he got his welfare check, I'd be like, I don't really know that. But so see that he didn't have a vehicle, him and his girlfriend, I guess, or something. Yeah, and his friend across the street would give him great big huge, and it'd be like bottles and real heavy and big. So he'd collect quite a bit. But I was helping everyone, like and Chris and stuff like that, and like we got called to help quite a few people too. But so I just kind of like basically burnt me out. And then I was working for this other organization, and like we did quite a bit of like we started the downtown East Side powwow there in 2011, and so like I guess they had it again last year, and like your ex-mother-in-law, is that what you would call her? Cece?
Yeah.
yeah.
She's my ex-mother-in-law now.
Yeah. So she called me and she said, "Man, it's gotten huge." So yeah. That's just one thing that we did quite a bit of events and activities, and we're like a dynamic thing there, right? But
Yeah, I went to a couple of those powwows there. That indoor one right after the Olympics there, they had some of the people that were featured in the Olympics. They came and did like a ceremony dance there too, and got to see that. So we might have even previously crossed paths without even knowing it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, like some people, like I meet them and they're like, "Oh, you look familiar." Yeah. I've had that happen so many times. Like, I don't know how it's happened or something. Like, I guess just being so like, it's basically helping quite a. And I wasn't even asking anything from anyone. Like, really, I was just, but it did so. So I was just like, it kind of like burnt me out, and so I moved up here and just like got away from there and yeah, but and so I could concentrate and I could do these types of things, you know, to not for my story, but to hear other people's stories and stuff like that. So yeah, so I don't know what do you think is the biggest threat to, I guess, I don't know, Indigenous or whoever, us people who are in recovery or something. I don't know.
I think it's the lack of resources that are there. I mean, I've always said, you know, with a lot of these agencies that are put in place to help us, you know, every time money touches hands, it gets thinner and thinner, right? And you know, with like our homeless problem like getting bigger and stuff, you know, like there's people who are given jobs to deal with these homeless problems, but their job is dependent on the problem. If they fix the problem, now they've just put themselves out of work, right? And it's like, where do you even start? Like, really, like, and it sucks because the crime has gone so crazy. You know, you can't even really park downtown without risk to your vehicle or property. You know, and we have big businesses shutting down downtown now. And so it's just vacant, boarded up buildings now. And it's like, I don't know. And it just, I mean, with this recent election, I really had a lot of hope for some new candidates, but I mean, a lot of the same people got in, so I'm a little reluctant to see what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah. I've been doing this for a while, and I saw a report. But basically, from birth to death, we're at a disadvantage. Kind of like, because just a higher birth rate or lower birth rates, and all the more sudden infant death syndrome things, and all the way through, like fewer of us are graduating, fewer of us have like a complete home, like it's more for broken homes, single parent, we're raised by single parents and all that. And then it just keeps on going, like all the way through. We have a lower life expectancy, higher rates of suicide, drugs, everything, like and so when I looked at that list in 1999, I was like, well, I don't even know where to start. Like, and then Chris is like, you see the challenges of, like, I think you have a lot more resources though, eh?
Now I do, but back then I didn't really have any because, I had a problem of asking for help. I'm like, it's just that, you know, when I was growing up as a kid, you know, they're just saying that, because I was in a discovery class at Hope for Freedom, and the one thing I learned is that, thank you for not talking, thank you for not trusting, talk, or feel, you know, because that's not how a man should be, you know, asking for help or not trusting or, you know, all those sort of things. So I lived by those rules for all my life until I got into treatment. And, you know, now I'm starting to ask for help, but I guess I'm asking the wrong people, I guess you could say. So back then, I didn't have that much resources. And at the same time, I wasn't really looking. So now I'm in treatment. There's all these resources. And again, my stubborn butt don't want to take it. I don't know why, because maybe I'm still stuck in that cycle of living those three rules.
Yeah.
I find too sometimes people get scared of success, right? And maybe just because you didn't have those resources before, now you might have some sort of feeling that you aren't in deserving of having those resources, right? And but all I can say, man, is that you're doing the right thing. Try to fully surrender yourself to the people that are trying to help you. And like, I don't know what kind of program it is, but I would strongly encourage, like, if they offer some sort of a second stage living, to to kind of go with that too, because it really, when you're in treatment, it really, you know, it's kind of like you're babysat a lot of the time, and it's like, but the second stage is a real transition back into reality. And because I seen a lot of people that didn't go through a second stage, and they kind of fell right back on their face. So
Yeah. Like, I started the first stage, Hope for Freedom, out in Maple Ridge. I completed that program. I've been there since, I think, 4 months, 5 months. And I completed all the programs, anger management, discovery. That's basically it. And then shortly after that, maybe 3 weeks, I moved to Choices, third stage house. Well, second and third stage house. I got here January 4th.
okay, awesome.
So far it's going good. But the only thing that's stopping me, this brick wall, is I'm dealing with this courts and PO, probation. So once that's knocked down, I could follow my other goals or dreams, like go for work full time, go get a housing if I can find something out there, or just a basement suite, right? And then just, set these small goals, not trying to be like a perfect guy, trying to be all that, like put my bar way up here where I can't reach it, and then you'll just fall on your face again because you can't reach it. Why be perfect? Just be better than yourselves. Put small goals on top of each other.
Yeah,
And grow.
that's what I learned. Yeah, two things. Like, one is like, it's you're at on a pond or whatever, and then so you have to get from here to that side, and by going on the lily pads. But
Like a
then so
frog.
but they're not going to stay there forever, right? They'll just start like yeah. So that and the other way is like kind of like well, there's two ways to get a goal anyways, but one is like those torpedoes or whatever, you know the target, you want to hit the ship or whatever, so it's through feedback. And so if you get off track, which have you ever gotten off track?
No,
Yeah,
never,
I do.
never.
Yeah, you like, sometimes I wake up like, it's like, how did I get here, man? Yeah, it's just but so I get off track too as well, and things, but so it's kind of like, but it's through feedback. So and people around you actually will know you're off track before you do. So you have to find the people who will give you that honest feedback and saying, hey, what's going on or something. Yeah. So and so it's then now it becomes, okay, should I listen, or we don't have to listen to everything. I don't know if you found that or so.
I'm a pretty stubborn guy, so I rarely listen to people, and that could probably be one of my biggest downfalls. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. Like I have a whole article. It's called Deep Listening. I don't know. Yeah. But I forgot what it said in there. So I guess I wasn't listening to the article. But yeah, I mean, like so yeah. Sometimes I go for a walk up here in the park and things, and so I just kind of like try to listen from the earth, and stuff like that. Yeah. or this creator or spirit or something like that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So some of the
Meditation.
I found too, like, I don't know why, but like when I was in treatment, like I had some of the most peace over me. I just, I was in treatment, had no money, You know, like there was no problems because of finances. Like, you know, like I find money is a big part of, like, you know, it can be dangerous in the wrong hands. And, you know, it just, I saw that happen a lot too. Like guys would get clean and they would go to like these big paying jobs to like get money that they've never really been used to, right? And like next thing you know, you either hear like they passed away from an overdose, or they're coming back to a recovery program. So it's just money can be it's a tool, but if you don't treat it as such, it can definitely become a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, two big triggers I saw in the recovery houses is money and relationships actually.
Yeah. Well, they say not to get in a relationship in the first year.
Yeah.
Most of us go in in a damaged relationship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think.
Yeah, and like, I have this roommate, you know, Hope for Freedom. I'm not gonna say no names because out of the privacy of the people, right? But anyways, he's been my roommate for a month, and he met this girl only for like a month, or not even a month, or 2 weeks or whatever, and they got into a relationship right away. And I told him, like, focus on yourself, not the women. Yes, women are beautiful. They're whatever. They're broken and stuff, but fix yourself first if you want this relationship to work. Nope, he's stubborn like me. He wanted to go in. He went in for the kiss. And I was like, oh, dear God. So yeah, they say to stay single at least 1 year if you came out of the relationship.
Yeah, I've known my wife actually for I think it was like 9 months. I think so yeah, it's just but it was good for me anyways. Like just having that sounding board. Yeah, and the sounding board and like just because I saw changes in myself through the relationship. Yeah, so if like because we're fairly used to each other now, but like if I were like leapfrogging, I guess, from this relationship to that one there or something, then like how could any one individual get to know me, you know, like so the most time we spent apart from each other was 3 weeks, so that's getting to know people quite deeply, I guess. But I mean, that's just me though. That's in a sense my story. And these I have this online course that I'm creating, and I say like, these are my tracks. I went moose hunting with my cousin a long time ago, and he shot a moose, and I went darting into the woods, and so he went chasing after it, and so I went with him just to experience the thing there, and so he was and it was the snow was up to our waist or whatever. then I was following his tracks because my thought is, okay, I'll follow his tracks, and then when we come back out, it'll be easier, right? Then he looked back and he said, "Hey, make your own tracks." So so these are my recovery tracks in a sense, and so I just all our journeys will, like you're doing Tribe North and stuff like that. Yeah, and like Chris, he's like in the powwow and things, and so he's fairly well. Like if I would imagine, I'm not too sure, if you had your wish, you'd just like get a vehicle and you'd just travel the powwow trail for like would that be something you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, that's my dream goal, is to get a vehicle and hit the roads for power trails, right?
Awesome, yeah.
But you gotta start somewhere, like, you know, find a place, get a job, pay off your tickets, and you know, you can't just like go, oh yeah, I'm done treatment, and go buy a car, and like, but yeah, that's my main goal, and that's one of my main goals is go get a car.
You can, just don't get caught.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Unfortunately, I could be fast, but not. I'm no ninja.
Yeah, no, that's one thing too. Just like before I got clean and sober, like my mind would if there was an illegal way to make money, like I was all for it, right? And it's just, but after getting clean, it's just, and I think it comes with age too. You start to realize what things really mean to you and like what your value and morals are. And, you know, I'm 37 now, and honestly, like when I hit 36, I feel like that has been my most growing year. You know, I feel like I've matured like 10 times the amount, and I'm excited to see what life continues to bring. You know, it's like Jackson mentioned, like all you can do is live one day at a time, right? So it's and I mean, some of those days, like you might even just have to live hour by hour, because it's just, you know, it's a crazy world we're living in right now.
Even
it is. Yeah, I'm doing this other program or class, Wars Against Violence, just recently. I did it before 2 years ago, but I wasn't really ready to change because, again, I'm stubborn. But so yesterday was my second class, and I heard there's a saying that you gotta live in the now or the present, and you can't say you're gonna stay clean or sober because how did he say it? Because you don't know what's going to happen in like 2 minutes or in 5 minutes or an hour. You could be loaded or high in like 5 minutes or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to trust the process and be very patient.
Yeah. Or get hit by a bus or whatever.
Yeah.
Even sometimes it's just a moment like, Creator, please help me get through this. Like, I've been through like, So just from my own experience, like say the deep end of the pool, like there's a deep end of the pool of recovery and there's going to be like I don't know, maybe you guys are different, but for me it was I went to some really dark places and basically all alone, man. It's just, but I mean, I got like 2016 was one of the worst years of my life, and like in my addiction, so it was me at the end of my addiction was me and alcohol basically. But then in recovery, so it was me, and then I had all these people, I had all these responsibilities and everything, and I was just like busy, like probably avoiding my own things at the same time. But then I lost my job in 2015 after 14 years working for them. They're like, it's not really working out, Jackson. It's like, well, okay, yeah. I kind of knew it anyways. I knew it was coming. So, but then they basically let me go. But then 2016, I tried to rebuild the stuff. Like, so I didn't have any of this. So at that time, though, it's just me and the Creator, man. That's a lonely place to be. So and then last year or 2021 was even like 2016 had nothing on 2021, man. June of 2020 was the absolute worst month of my life. Like, it's just so. But like I said, we're all different. We all have different paths, and like yourself, so how did you get to where you're at? Like, because I think it'd be a good thing for how did you get onto how is Tribe North working out? How did you?
Honestly, like back in my addiction, I wanted to start like a streetwear brand more aimed at the criminal demographic, right? And I have some of those designs still, and the name and all that stuff, and I always had an eye for wanting to create, right? I've always considered myself very creative. I was fortunate to have a computer at a younger age, like 13, 14. So I downloaded Photoshop, and I've been kind of honing my skills since, and I honestly don't even know how it started. It just kind of, I was looking up how to make shirts. I made a shirt in high school with in art class or whatever. And you know, so I kind of knew what the process was. And yeah, in December, I honestly, looking back, I don't know what made me start. I started looking online for screen printing equipment. I found a website of a company based in Ontario. And yeah, I spent like between $6,000 and $7,000 on equipment without even knowing how to use the stuff. You know, I had like 3 weeks for it to get delivered. So I just went on YouTube and religiously watched videos, like, because, you know, I may not have the alcohol and drugs in my life these days, but I'm definitely an addict when it comes to other things, right? Like I have no problem putting stuff ahead of others, you know what I mean? So I was obsessed with watching videos, and so by the time the equipment came, I had a, you know, somewhat of a knowledge of how to use it, but of course, you know, you have to go through your trial and error. And yeah, I was sitting at my computer, and like I was like, I don't know, it was weird. It was like the creator was like every step of the way, you know, with the mouse, I'd do up this design, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm not a big fan of that one. And then, you know, I'd make a mistake, and I'm like, oh, wait, that looks like something, right? So, of course, I started going on Google and just typing in, like, inventions from Canada, and, like, you know, there's a lot of inventions I didn't even know that Canada was responsible for. Like, in one other part of my design, like, there's a highway, and I didn't realize that Canada was the first country to put lines on their highway, right? So, cool. So I started messing around with the design, and originally I was going to call it True North, but after doing a Google search, I realized like every Canadian company wants to name it True North, right? So I was like, well, so luckily Tribe North came, and I've really just been trying to get the brand out there. It's been a challenge, you know, because because of being an addict, I still struggle with a lot of things, right? Like confidence, and just talking to people, like, you know, like I'm really trying to work on those skills, because like owning a business, especially selling products, like you have to get out there. You have to like hustle, right? And I come from a different style of hustling, and so this is all kind of new to me still. And it's been very fun, and you know, I'm coming up on 2 years now of being in business, and it's awesome, because I feel like I have accomplished quite a bit so far, and I'm just in the crawling stages still, right? Yeah, so it's, I mean, my products have reached as far as Quebec, and
awesome.
Yeah, I hope to keep expanding.
So it didn't happen overnight type thing, just
in a way it kind of did, because I mean, I ordered the equipment in December. I was working on the design January, February, and by March I had already figured out the design. I was dealing with a trademark lawyer, got everything trademarked, and so it kind of did happen overnight. In my mind, like, you know, there was that 2-month period, but yeah, I don't know, like I've always had an eye for art, right? And I appreciate artists, and those are the people that I really connect with, right? Like it's just going to talk to a random stranger, like I might not connect, but if there's something art that, like, whether they're a dancer, singer, you know, painter or podcaster or whatever, right? It's all an art form, right? And it's just, there's a connection there, because to be an artist, you have to be vulnerable, right? When you put your product out there or whatever you're doing, like you're putting a piece of you out there, open to criticism of others, right? And we all know that people can be pretty mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Especially people that are jealous. Like, that's one thing that's really bothered me with having this brand is, I thought if I had a product that is wearable and affordable and all this stuff, I really thought a lot of my friends and family, a lot of more of them would, support me and stuff. But, even as simple as like sharing, if I make a post, a business post, like it's just, like my Facebook business page has, has less likes than my Facebook friends list, right? So it's like, kind of like, obviously not all of my friends are liking my business page. And I've even had a friend tell me, like, he told me that he was a little envious of me. And I'm like, for what? And he's like, because you're living your dream. And I said, man, like, anybody can do this. You just have to really take that first step. Like that is the hardest step. And he said he wanted to do a clothing line too. And I said, hey, man, like, how can I help you? Right? Like, because, I mean, in addiction, I used to envy people. Oh, look at that guy. But you don't see what's behind the curtain. You don't see the work that they put in, right? And a lot of people don't see the sacrifices and work that I've put in, right? So it's like now having this business and being where I'm at, like I want to try to support other people. I want to try to build them up, right? I want to be the lowest, like the lowest person.
Common denominator or whatever.
Yeah, in my circle, I want to be at the bottom because then it motivates me to grow, right? Because if you're at the top of your group, you're not going to get better. Right?
Keep learning and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm trying to surround myself with like-minded people, business owners, people with goals. Like everybody these days is talking about all these Netflix series, and it's like, well, what are you doing for you? Like, like you're escaping reality, but like, you go work for somebody else all day, you come home tired, but like, what are you doing for you?
It's pretty tough. Yeah. And especially yourself, like you have the time now, should invest in yourself, like as much as like you're like the build yourself up like the $6 million man or something.
The bionic man.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm starting somewhere. I'm making my own TikTok videos.
There you go. And that's the thing, like, I wish I could do more content, and that's one thing I think because I see other people and I'm so critical of myself, right? Like I'm always, even like people ask me why I haven't really got my stuff into stores so much as yet. And it's like, because part of me, when I do go to the mall and see products, there's a part of me that feels like my product isn't worthy enough to be there, right? And
so you're basically cutting yourself short.
Exactly, and it sucks because like all the people that have bought my products, they give me nothing but praise, right? Like, oh, it's the most comfortable, it's the most softest, the quality is amazing, like all this stuff. But I haven't got to that point where I don't want to say believe in it, because I do believe in it, but it's something I'm continuously working on. And this last year has been pretty tough because I've really been trying to make it on my own, right? Like I'm not currently employed and stuff like that, so it's really been a hustle, and I've been making it work, but it's getting to the point where I'm also getting a little bit burnt out. So the next step, I think, would just kind of take a little bit of a break and get back to a job where I can kind of just have a little bit of structure, right? Like, because right now it's like I haven't found myself very disciplined, right? Like my sleeping schedule is completely off. I have no real responsibilities other than my kids and the orders that I'm getting. But other than that, it's like I'm just living like a wild, wild west right now. So I need to get back to some order and, get some money saved up, because it has been a struggle.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, just like that saying, trust the process.
yeah, like yeah, I could see myself maybe grabbing a bunch of shirts or whatever, and then picking Chris up, and then going to some kind of powwow and just selling it there or something.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. And like that's one thing, like, you know, as a native man, and you know, like I have a deep love for the culture, but I just, when I created this brand, you know, I didn't want to aim it just towards natives, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like the tribe, we're us as Canadians, like we're so diverse, and like there's just so much culture here, but we don't seem to recognize it. It's like, you know, it's this color versus this color. It's like, you know, rather than like see the differences all the time, like people need to realize we have more in common than the differences we have, right?
Yeah.
But it's just with the whole world right now, their agenda is just to keep us so diverse, like keep us divided, because, you know, when people realize that they're in unity, like they're more powerful, right? They have a voice, they have, you know, like, and that's where, you know, those truckers, like I really had a lot of hope for that, because I was like, wow, Canada is finally banding together. But then you see the whole, you know, the whole media side of it, where they paint them to be these monsters, and you know, so it really, I did lose a little bit of hope. You know, not all hope is lost, but it really opened to my eyes to really how strong our government is, and like how powerful they can be. And you know, you see them now trying to take guns. That scares me, man, because they did that in Australia, and you look at during their COVID, like they were on restrictions for a lot longer than we were, right? And it's just because, what are they going to do? Slap the government, you know? So it's...
Yeah, I think they just bought a bunch of F-18s or whatever, like 35 F-18s or the government, Actually,
well, yeah, and if the government wants to take away guns, like they should do a test run with the criminals first. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like this one here says defend. So how do we strengthen ourselves then? Like, you know, in terms of that, like, I was glad that you shared the struggles that you have, and like it, you know, you get the ideas, and so the two goals. So one is knowing that I want to hit that submarine or whatever, or that that ship or something like that. The other way to get a goal, like, you know what you want to do, but you have to figure out, okay, how do I get that? And then the other way is not knowing, but like, so like if I close my eyes and I was like feeling on the table, but just kind of like what you're mentioning there, then recognizing and saying, oh, hey, this looks pretty good. Maybe I'll try that or something like that. Yeah. So there's basically two ways to get a goal. So like yourself too. Yeah. Just and it takes time. I've always been goal orientated, goal directed and stuff. But and like I'm doing this, but it's not really what I intended to do a long time ago. Yeah, but I don't know. I just somehow have a vision, like, or I could somehow see into the future. Like, I noticed that this type of stuff is really, well, the pandemic, and so we're staying at home and stuff. So, and so this didn't come out of nowhere. You know, I've been working on since 2018 or whatever. Like, yeah. So.
Well, you're pretty resilient, because like it just, like I said, man, I've never seen a setup. Like, I feel like I'm on like an actual like TV show here. Yeah. Like, it's like, you know, like the Tonight Show.
Oh yeah.
With the king of green screens.
Yeah. I always had a different picture in the background there when I was in class, because it shut off one time and all you could see is a green screen, and I was like, oh, well, I don't know.
No, I was always looking forward to what you're gonna bring next.
Yeah. There's always something different. Like, so if I had some of it, I could have put that behind there.
Yeah.
We just gotta move Jackson over a little bit.
Yeah. No, it's a camera there. Or oops. How was that?
Oh, you gotta put you guys two together.
Oh, yeah.
You see you guys together.
How about that?
Then it can actually be a real podcast.
Well, no. If you look at it, so, there's chairs over here, and then there's a chair over here too. So like there's a 2, 4, 6 room for 6 right now. Only have 4 microphones, but I could get 2 more microphones, and I have 3 camera angles, and I could have 4. Actually, I could have 8 and stuff like that, and just really get things going, man.
Well, one thing I like, because I've listened, like back, I was a truck driver, right, and that's probably what I'll go back to, just because I have a class 1 or whatever. But when I was driving truck, like I was able to listen to a lot of podcasts, right, and like kind of 3 is like the perfect, like two is like the best, right, because it's just a one-on-one, but 3. Any more than 3, and it kind of gets to where people possibly start talking over each other. Like it's nice that in this setup you can hear yourself, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You realize, hey, I'm interrupting right now, but like if you, especially on a podcast where nobody has mics or head, like if they have mics but no headsets, it's like a war.
Yeah. The same thing too. A lot of research and things, and how do I trial and error. It's still not 100% where I'd like it, but yeah, it's really come a long ways or stuff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So once you get up to like defending, I think for me, like because there's always going to be threats and things and stuff, and you know, the people are trying to drag you down because of what you're doing and stuff like that. So and yourself too, like, you know, like coming from that kind of thing, there maybe some people will say, oh, you know, those things linger around, man. Like the domestic or whatever, anything. Like I've gone through my own stuff, and so in reality, it's kind of like called lateral violence, and it's lateral because it was from the doctors. They would put pressure on the nurses. They couldn't take it back out horizontal or whatever, so that they took it out on the other nurses and stuff like that. So and that's what we do, like what you're mentioning, like you know, in the Indigenous community, and even on like you're mentioning about confidence, like because I watched Chris, and I drummed with him. It takes confidence, man, to hit that drum. Like he just whacks on it, and it's just like boom, boom, boom. Me, I'm kind of like I pretend to, and then sometimes you could go on to the side, but yeah, but like, so I don't know where the confidence comes from, like, or and especially if people are treating us like that and dragging us down. So my whole I have a website there. That whole thing is all about lateral violence. My whole program is like, how do we stop doing this to each other? And like I don't know if you remember Elder Woody Morrison, like what he said, if we're not lifting people up, we're putting them down. I was like, holy cow. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So how do we lift each other up? Like, and especially because in the power, like I've been in those, and they're sometimes not the healthiest environment. I find, you know, they have their little cliques. Would you say so?
Yeah. There's some of them out there and are pretty nasty.
Yeah. Like
if you don't create your own songs, then why be a singer? That's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't sing your own songs, why be a singer? If you're going to sing somebody else's songs, you're a copycat. Basically, things like that.
Yeah.
So, you don't call it, and then there's another one that don't ever call yourself a lead singer if you don't know how to sing or lead.
Oh, yeah. I think so once we like yourself, I think because you've been doing it so long, I think that's it. You just have to do things for a long time, and like they could try, but because you had you worked out all the little intricacies and stuff, and so you could see it coming, and so you're fairly firm, solid in things there. But to like, so that's 25 years of powwow singing, I guess, or maybe not in the. I don't know. It's a long time, anyways.
Yeah, about there, give or take. Because I stopped when I was 16. Like I said again, because I was using and drinking, and I can't be around the drum when I use or drink, right? Because it's disrespectful to that, or else you get somebody else sick on the drum. And then again, I quit going when COVID hit, because face it, I don't know, you guys stay inside or stay away from each other 6 feet apart, so can't gather. So now I'm starting slowly making my way back into power life, but again, I'm stuck with this court and PO stuff. So, and thanks a lot for my addiction. That's what put me there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not really. Oh, sorry to cut you off, but it's not really all your addiction's fault. It's your actions too.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy talks about thoughts, actions, consequences. So yeah, like it usually starts in our thought or relapse or something like, yeah. But then we act on it, and then there's consequences, and yeah, that's what really keeps me away from the first one. I don't,
They
yeah,
call that stinking thinking.
yeah. I don't want to deal with the consequences of, like all this could be gone, like just like that, like, yeah, it's the way that I drink, anyways, or something.
Yeah, well, even over Christmas here, like I just, I had the thoughts like maybe I could just have one, right? And it's like when you start having those thoughts, you can't hold them in. Like you have to tell people around you, because when you talk about it, it really does take the power out of it, right? Especially people that know you and know how you were.
Yeah.
Like I was with like my kids and their mother over the holidays, right? Just trying to give my kids that family environment right over the holidays. And I told her, I was like, pour me one. She's like, F that, man. Like, you're not drinking. Like, because she knows, right? And like it just. It's I'm the same way, man. Like I'm a pig when it's something that I like I don't have a limit. Like I go until it's gone, and then I want more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but just that's on the topic of like growth and all that stuff, and like that's one of the hardest parts, because being an addict, we are very impulsive, we are very impatient, we want things now. When we can't have them, we think, how can we manipulate to get it, right? So it's like, that's probably been one of the hardest parts about having this clothing company, is like in my mind, I kind of am upset with myself, because I feel like I should be a lot further ahead than I am, right? And it's like, I got to keep reminding myself, hey man, you're only coming up on 2 years. Like you look at a 2-year-old kid and what do they know? They're just, they're maybe just just learning how to run a little bit, right? And it's like, so I got to really keep myself grounded, those baby steps, and I'm really hopeful what this year is going to bring, because I've been really trying to network with more positive people, like I said, like business owners and just people that are going to lift me up, right? Because I'm so tired of the crabs in a bucket type society, right? Like people give up on themselves way too easily these days. So when they see somebody trying to better their life, it's the criticism and, like, oh, good luck with that. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, good luck with that. Why not be like, is there anything I can do to help? Rather than just dismiss you. And so it is a problem, right? And it's, and it really has gotten worse over these last, little while, because that's one thing I feel too, is like people's trust. I think a lot of it has to play with the government. Like there was so much facts that they weren't telling us. Stuff that you would say on Facebook questioning, the whole pandemic, you would get blocked. Facebook would block you. And now you have like these news media sources that are like saying everything that we were saying like 2 years ago. It's like now they're normalizing it. You see all these athletes dropping dead. And it's like, okay. But still they say, oh, they had this rare condition. It's like, well, why can't the politicians just be honest, right? What is causing all this stuff? Because it's just, and like, it's just people, I think because we've kind of been dealing with a narcissistic style government, that we're all kind of have our guards up, right? Nobody wants to let people in as easily. So it's frustrating, but I kind of think this is the new norm now.
You mentioned trying to get the word out there. I worked for an organization. They had a 40-year history. Like they've been in business for like 40 years, and they don't do any advertising. It's just word of mouth. And we still met people who didn't even hear about them. So after 40 years of being in the business, so that's some of these things do take time and stuff, I think. You're frozen. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so I don't know how are you guys doing and good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Kind of, I don't know. It's I don't know how long this has been, but yeah. So.
Well, my battery is gonna die. It's at 29%. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I got lots of time.
Maybe I'm good for another half an hour.
Yeah. So I mean, this was just one card of so then something else is attack. Take the. How do we attack? Like actually, the format and each option has risks and rewards. So so that's the thing about recovery and things. We have to defend some things, and sometimes we have to say, hey, that ain't right. What you're doing or saying, and so that Warriors Against Violence could but how do we get our point across but still being respectful and sticking to our guns? Like it's just
I think it comes down to communication, right? Like we have to, it's like if you look like even like back in the olden days, like the cops would like walk through the dangerous neighborhoods, right, and get to know the people, get to know the situations, and and now it's like. Now you see cops driving through your neighborhood and everybody's fearful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, why are they here? And like, you have a cop behind you. It's like you have that, I must have did something wrong. Like it's just, it shouldn't. We all have this fear over our heads, and it's I don't know. I really don't know what we do. I like communication is the best, but it's like, you can't even really gather nowadays without being deemed terrorists or whatever, right? Whatever they want to paint. It's, I have no idea.
Yeah, what really gets me is like being followed in the stores, man. The first time it happened to me, like I was shaking too. I mean, they weren't like how they show them on YouTube or anything like that, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just, But I think, we're in for very turbulent times here. And so I think, you're right that it's the government and they weren't honest. And like I've done a lot of research and things and stuff. Like, just done a lot of reading and articles and the things that, so you come across something and say, they did that, man? Holy cow, yeah. And they actually pitted us against each other on reserve and off reserve. And so but when it was kind of like dying out, then they would poke at one side or the other and then keep the argument going. And they don't even have to do anything anymore.
No, it's just, it is crazy how racism is still so rampant. Like they try to say end racism and all this stuff, but it's just the stuff that they're doing is just keeping it alive. For example, taking Aunt Jemima's picture off the ball. Like it's just stuff like that. It's like what's the need for that? Like what was wrong with it? But now you make this whole race to it, and it's just. You're keeping it alive, and it's just, I can remember at a young age back when there was Kmart. Like I was there shopping with my grandma, and she went to go buy mouthwash, and they wouldn't sell it to her.
Oh yeah.
Right, and it's just so. I saw this at a young age, and I mean, luckily I haven't experienced too much of it myself, but I do see, even after all those residential school findings and stuff like that, there's so many people that are still naysayers, like, oh, well, where's the bodies, all this stuff. It's like, man, they were saying this stuff was going on for like years, decades, right?
Yeah,
and now that they finally have a bit of proof, people are like, well, where's the bodies?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It couldn't have happened. Where's the body?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
man,
yeah.
are you that insensitive? Like,
Yeah.
you know, these people, like, you know, there's generations of people that are hurting and suffering still. And it just, I don't know. It's sad that people, you know, have to be so opinionated all the time rather than just have a little bit of empathy. You know, it just, I think that's what the world is lacking, is empathy, right? It's like everybody thinks they're better than, you know, especially with all these people, the homeless and stuff. Like, people don't realize you're just one bad decision away from being in that same situation.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
whether you get behind a wheel, you know, with a couple drinks, you could take somebody out.
Yeah.
Now you're in jail. Now you lose everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it blows my mind how quick we are to, you know, not be able to put ourselves in that position. Like, my grandma once told me this analogy, and I remember it, and I try to practice it all the time. She said, I once cared what my shoes looked like until I saw a man with no feet, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just, we really do take a lot for granted, and it's just, you know, sometimes life really does humble you pretty quickly, right? And then what? Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so especially for you, Chris, don't ever forget, like the elder said, don't, or they told me, don't ever forget where you come from or something. So just remember these times, man. Remember where you're at and stuff, and so you actually use it to get to the next lily pad and stuff like that.
When I first went to treatment in jail, I was so lost because I was without my drum.
Yeah.
And now I got my drum back. I feel whole again.
Awesome.
It
Yeah.
only just takes that one thing.
Yeah.
One thing that you love the most.
Yeah. I got like you could see this drum, but I have another powwow drum upstairs, just 30 inches, same design and stuff like that. But yeah. So I have my big logo printed right on top of it there and stuff. Yeah, I don't know how to play it or anything or sing, but
Practice.
Oh yeah. Well, what do you think about YouTube? Like learning off YouTube, because I know some people don't really like that though.
Yeah, it just depends on who is around you, right? Because I used to like listen to YouTube all the time and sing their songs. But just like I said, if you want to be authentic, you got to make your own songs.
Oh yeah.
So so in the power world, people will get to know you. Say, oh, this guy's a good lead singer, or this guy's a good song maker, you know, or you're not going to go nowhere in the power life, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
It's just like Buddy there, he wants to make his own T-shirts, his own brand. So you got to start from scratch. You got to make your own design. You got to make your own logos and stuff, right? And that's authentic.
Yeah.
That's yours. That's your trademark, your stamp, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically, power songs.
Yeah. I guess we're all creating something in a sense and stuff like that's because you started writing your own songs, eh?
Yeah, I got. I believe now I got like 14 songs.
Wow.
All saved up in my phone.
Yeah, because last time I saw you a couple of years ago there, you're only at 2.
Yeah.
Progress, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. And those 2 songs I created, but I didn't record them. And I'm trying to figure out what those songs are, but I guess it's not meant to be kept.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's the difference between like being a song maker. Like you can create all these songs, like native songs, but if you don't have like a tape recorder or anything, you'll forget it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's meant to be.
Yeah. There's a good podcast called Teachings in the Air, like Jerry Oldman and stuff like that. So yeah, he says the teachings are in the air. So I guess maybe the songs are too.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess we could just or I don't know, just kind of like shut down there.
No, this has been a good episode. I've really enjoyed you know, getting to share a little bit of my story and hearing your guys' story, because it just, you know, it's one of those things, like, life is such a weird journey, man. Like, you know, we get busy, and it's like, you know, like, I'm almost gonna be 40. It's like, man, where did the time go? Like, you know what I mean? Like, back when I was younger, I'd hear people be like, "Oh, I haven't talked to that guy for like 20 years," and you're like, "Holy crap, that's a long time." But now it's like, like, these last 2 years have just whisked by. It's like, wow. Like, so it's nice being able to just, you know, sit down and kind of reconnect and reground and just, you know, remind ourselves that, you know, like, I'm very grateful you, Christopher. Like, you really remind me of where I was, you know, and like, just because I don't really think about being in treatment that often, right? Like, I've been, but it's, you know, it's something that I'll always cherish, because I've met some very good people, and just, you know, like, I was fortunate enough to be in Coquitlam. I went midway through August, right? So I got to enjoy, you know, some of the nice weather in Vancouver and all that stuff. And I have a lot of memories that I kind of keep in the back of the mind. So just hearing your story really just allows me to reflect on those, and you know, just kind of relive it a little bit and remind myself that, hey, man, like, you're not a bad person, and, you know, just, you got to continue to love yourself, right? Because it's like, you know, we can make a couple mistakes. Like, we're not perfect, and it's really easy for us to beat ourselves up, right? And it's just, we have to remind ourselves, like, hey, we are doing good. Like, we're taking initiative. We're trying to make a better life for ourselves. And, like, for you have 4 young kids, right? Like, that's the greatest gift that you can give them, is them getting their dad back. So be proud of yourself, man, and love yourself. And I look forward to seeing what life has for you, man, and seeing your journey. And, you know, like, hopefully if everything works out, man, I'd love to one day meet you in person, shake your hand, and, you know, hopefully it's at a powwow somewhere, right? And see the art you're creating.
Yeah. Well, Jackson knows where I'm at, so, well, not really, because I'm in Vancouver now. So Jackson knows all my contact info, Facebook and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Just don't mind my post.
No, man, I do not judge, because that's one thing I hate, when people judge me. It's like, you know, and I think that was, like, another thing during COVID. Like, because I'm opinionated but not judgmental, right? Like, I like to just bring topics to the surface so we could, like, debate them. And I think I did lose a lot of following during the whole COVID thing, because I would question everything, right? And some people don't want to think for themselves. They want to just do what they're told. And it's, that's a scary way to live, because, I mean, if one thing we can learn from history, you know, like, you look at, like, around the 1940s area, like, you know, there was probably a lot of people listening to what their government was telling them then, and that didn't really end out too good.
Propaganda.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you can't question stuff, like this new bill C-36 that they're trying to push through, like, doctors can't even question stuff.
Oh, wow.
Because if they question, you know, if they question anything, they can get their medical license pulled. They can get, you know, a fine up to $250,000, up to 6 months in jail. Like, it's, it's like, when you can't question science, that's when it's become propaganda.
Yeah, it's like a dictatorship, I think they're talking about, which doesn't really work out in the end, kind of.
No,
some people say, but I don't know. Yeah,
but I mean, it's one of those things, like, you know, it's all these politicians probably have good intentions when they get in, right? But then you get these, like, world elite people that are into some dark stuff, and all they have to do is say, hey, man, like, you do what we tell you, or your kids are going to go missing, or whatever, right? Like, who knows what kind of threats they're giving. But I think that a lot of these people get in with good intentions, and then they get quickly given the talk, and things change. Because, I mean, you know, you look at Canada over these last 6 years, or however long it's been, and I guess, when was that? When was that first election? 2016?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, he's been in there a while. This is
Yeah,
his
so
second term or whatever. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and it's just you see how quickly we've gone downhill, and it's
Yeah.
like, we're being taxed left, right, and center,
Yeah.
and it's like, well, what's the benefit? Like, housing has gotten so expensive now that like it sucks because I hear of people renting, their rent is like more than my mortgage, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
wow, and like, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here, but it's. I mean, we got to just
Yeah,
be grateful each step of the way, man,
yeah.
because there's a lot of people that didn't even wake up today.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
doing more of this, more collaboration, more working together, and like, yeah, just sort of doing what I was doing down there, but just now I'm a little bit not reliant so much on money. Yeah, which is yeah, it took a while, and I'm grateful for everything that I've gotten, and I worked hard for it, and like Chris has seen the struggles that I went through with different people, and it's just like shaking my head. But yeah, so yeah, defending, and just like but I didn't do it for myself, man. I want to do it for other people. I want to kind of like blaze a trail or something, and so get their stories, and like you could see, because sometimes what we have to do is we get, like when I get out into left field, and I say, well, how did I get here? And then so it's good to reflect and remind, oh yeah, and then do this, and so it's good to like the. We have 3 review mirrors, whatever, right? So our main focus is going ahead, but we do get a glimpse behind every once in a while and just see how far we've come. Yeah, yeah.
Well, luckily those beers are so small because
Yeah, yeah.
it's if they're any bigger, it'd be very easy to continue
Yeah.
looking in the past, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
that's why that windshield is nice, big, and bright, and
Yeah,
hopefully no cracks in it, because clear
Yeah.
view and just stay on the straight and narrow. So
Yeah, yeah. And remain focused. Yeah.
yeah,
Stay in between the lines there, Chris.
yeah.
Yep. What this now exists.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. So, like, I'm kind of like open to, I mean, like, I don't know if you want to do this again next week or something. Okay. So, but yourself, like, it could just be us two or whatever. Or
Yeah, no, I'd definitely love to do this again. I just at this moment I got to start looking for a job, so I don't know what my availability will be like, but I definitely would like to
somewhere
continue
down,
this.
somewhere down the future and stuff. Yeah. I find where come from, like I shared a little bit, but I could share a whole lot more and stuff like that. Yeah, I have no problem. But I find here, because maybe there's less resources or something, so, and that's the whole reason. It's like, come and start sharing your story. Because sometimes I think sometimes when we share a little bit too much, or and it's like, oh my God, what? But it's like for me to like non-judgmental, because I know what. I felt like that, the shunning, the backstabbing, the sabotage, and people like it's just like it doesn't work for me. But yeah, so and I want to bring people through. I have a whole program. Come through me, and let's try to work that out. So you don't have to do that. But I think because some mental liabilities, some people are not able to, even though if they do go through it, they'll still be stuck in their old ways or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is awesome, and I don't know if you want to sing one of your songs or something. I was thinking to close.
And it's getting late. Plus, I don't have my own house to do singing. So,
Are you sure? I got the drum here. I could drum for you. You could sing.
no, some people are sleeping. So,
No, yeah, I'm drumming. No, are they going to hear me drumming? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So
yeah, maybe next time though, I'll find somewhere else to go live.
sure, maybe I could close in a prayer then or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so Creator, I thank you for bringing Jesse and Christopher here and being part of this. And this was a kickstart actually of what we're trying to do here, and thank you for everything you provided. And I know it's just trying to remain humble and seeing where we come from and never forget where we come from, and that if we look back, we see that we've actually come from a long ways, and all we're here to do is just try to help each other and lift each other up, even though we have different stories, but we could see similarities and help each other, even just for this one little brief moment. And my prayers and hope is that we remember these times, and that's what somebody said is life is all about creating memories, and I have lots of memories, and so I was just reminded of all those memories and the reason that we're doing all this work. And so just pray that we all continue on our journeys and defend what we have, but yet attack as well, and see what is threatening our recoveries and our journeys, and just pray that whatever is threatening it, that threatens us no more, and we just gain the confidence in the spirit with the Creator in alignment, and put one foot in front of the other, all my relations.
Oh, yeah. Well, nice to meet you guys. My name is Chris Perry. I came from Vancouver Island, born and raised. Awesome. And see you next time.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, man. God bless.
Yeah. Cool. Sayonara.